Welcome to US Coins World. What if I told you that some of the rarest and most valuable US coins might be hiding right under your nose? Today, we're uncovering incredible treasures, coins so rare, they could make you a fortune overnight. Ready to discover hidden history and cash in on some amazing finds? Let's dive in. Top 1. Today we're shining a spotlight on a coin that's turning heads in the collector world, the 1999 New Jersey State quarter dollar from the United States of America. This is not just another quarter. No, this coin is something special. A coin that might seem ordinary at first glance, but under the surface lies a world of history, rare errors, and value that could absolutely blow your mind. And if you're lucky enough to own one of these rare varieties, you might be holding onto a tiny piece of metal worth more than a luxury car, or even a small home. Sounds unbelievable? Well, don't go anywhere, because by the end of this video, you'll learn exactly why collectors are paying top dollar for this incredible piece of American numismatic history. Let's start with the basics. The New Jersey State Quarter was released in 1999 as part of the legendary 50 State Quarters program, a groundbreaking initiative by the U.S. Mint that celebrated each of the 50 states with unique reverse designs. This program ran from 1999 to 2008 and completely transformed the way Americans viewed their pocket change. For the first time, coins became more than just a medium of exchange, they became miniature works of art that told the story of the nation. New Jersey's quarter was the third in the series, following Delaware and Pennsylvania. And its design is nothing short of iconic. The reverse of the coin features a historic moment that helped shape the identity of the United States, the crossing of the Delaware River by General George Washington on the night of December 25, 1776, during the Revolutionary War. The scene is inspired by the famous painting Washington Crossing the Delaware, and shows Washington leading his troops, with the bold inscription, "Crossroads of the Revolution," above. It's a tribute to New Jersey's pivotal role in America's fight for independence, but what truly sets this coin apart isn't just its historical value or its beautiful design. It's the rarity, the minting errors, and the extraordinary condition in which some examples have survived. These are the factors that are driving up the demand, and the price, for this seemingly ordinary coin. Let's talk about rarity. While millions of New Jersey quarters were minted for general circulation in 1999, both in Philadelphia and Denver, most of them were handled roughly, passed from hand to hand, used in vending machines, and carried around in pockets and wallets for years. Very few were set aside immediately after release, preserved in pristine, uncirculated condition. And even fewer were struck with certain rare errors that occurred during the minting process, errors that can turn a 25-cent coin into a collector's dream worth thousands. So, what kind of errors are we talking about? First up, off-center strikes. These happen when the coin blank, or planchet, isn't properly aligned with the dies during the minting process. If your New Jersey quarter shows a design that's been shifted off to one side, leaving a blank crescent on the other, you may be looking at an off-center error, a major draw for collectors. Then there are double die errors. This type of error occurs when the coin's design is struck more than once by the die, but not in perfect alignment. On the New Jersey quarter, this might show up as doubled images or letters, especially noticeable on the word Liberty, the date, 1999, or the motto, "In God We Trust." A strong double die can elevate the coin's desirability significantly. Another rarity is the clad layer missing error. Normally, state quarters are made with a copper core and a nickel-clad outer layer. In rare cases, that outer layer is missing on one side, revealing a dull, reddish copper color. If your New Jersey quarter looks unusually dull or discolored, especially on one side, it might be missing its clad layer, and that's a very valuable error. And let's not forget strike-through errors, where foreign material, like grease or debris, interferes with the strike, leaving unusual textures or missing details on the coin. These kinds of minting mishaps may look strange at first, but to a seasoned collector, they can be goldmines. It's not just about errors, though. Condition matters. The most valuable coins are those that have never been circulated, coins in what collectors call mint state. These are coins that were never spent, never tossed into a jar or dropped into a soda machine. They're crisp, shiny, and often graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC. A New Jersey quarter graded MS 67 or higher is already considered rare. But if you pair that pristine condition with a major error, like a strong double die or a full off-center strike, you have a true rarity that serious collectors will pay a premium to add to their collection, and here's where things get really exciting. Because there's one known example of a 1999 New Jersey state quarter with a significant mint error, preserved in mint state condition, that has become the stuff of legend in numismatic circles. This single coin, thanks to its flawless preservation and rare double die error, has caught the attention of elite collectors and high-end auction houses. It's not just a coin anymore, it's a piece of history. A museum-worthy artifact that represents American heritage, minting excellence, and the unpredictable magic of coin collecting. A coin that once bought a gumball, or sat forgotten in a drawer, now stands as a treasure of extraordinary value. So what's the number everyone wants to know? How much could this rare coin be worth, if you're lucky enough to possess one of these extremely rare, error-marked, mint state 1999 New Jersey quarters? You might be holding something with an estimated value of $87,000. That's right, $87,000. For a quarter. One that could easily slip through your fingers unless you know exactly what to look for. So, coin lovers, don't underestimate your pocket change. The next time you come across a 1999 New Jersey quarter, take a closer look. Inspect the edges, examine the details, and don't be afraid to get it appraised if you think you found something special. The world of coins is full of surprises, and sometimes, the most ordinary-looking coin can turn out to be the crown jewel of your collection. Top 2. We're talking about one of the most recognizable and emotionally powerful state quarters in the entire 50-state quarter series. A coin that holds a special place in American hearts, and for a few lucky collectors, an unbelievable price tag. So make sure you listen closely, because today's spotlight is on the 2001 United States of America state quarter dollar from New York. What appears at first to be a standard 25-cent piece might actually be a rare treasure that could change your life. Because, as you're about to find out, this coin isn't just patriotic, it's potentially worth a small fortune. Let's start with the story behind the coin. The year was 2001. The world had changed forever, and the United States was standing strong in the face of adversity. New York, the Empire State, stood as a symbol of courage, resilience, and unity. And as the fourth coin released in the U.S. Mint's 50-state quarters program that year, the New York State Quarter was more than just a commemorative issue, it was a tribute to America's spirit. The reverse side of this coin captures that spirit beautifully. It features the Statue of Liberty, one of the most iconic symbols of freedom in the world, set against an outline of New York State. To the right, you'll notice lines tracing out flight paths, symbolizing the state's role as a gateway to America. The words, "Gateway to Freedom," are boldly inscribed, a message that resonates deeply, especially with the history of Ellis Island and the millions of immigrants who first stepped into the United States through New York. Now, let's talk about the details that matter most to collectors. You see, millions of these coins were minted, over 1 billion, in fact, across both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. But here's the catch, the vast majority of these coins were struck for general circulation. They were handled, spent, scratched, and worn down in everyday life. That's what makes finding a perfectly preserved, error-marked, high-grade New York quarter so incredibly rare. Collectors aren't just looking for any 2001 New York quarter. They're searching for that needle in the haystack, that coin that was struck in pristine condition with a remarkable minting error or flaw. And if you happen to have one of those in your possession, you might be sitting on something far more valuable than you ever imagined. So let's explore the types of minting errors that make this coin so desirable. Point 1. Of the most sought-after errors on the New York State quarter is the double die error. This occurs when the coin's design is impressed more than once by the die, causing a ghost-like doubling of letters, numbers, or features. On the New York quarter, this might show up as doubling on the date, 2001, the phrase, "Gateway to Freedom," or even on the statue itself. These double details can sometimes only be seen under magnification, but to trained collectors, they're worth big money. Another major variety is the off-center strike. Imagine the entire image on your quarter shifted to one side, leaving part of the design cut off and a blank crescent of metal on the opposite side. These errors are instantly noticeable and very rare, especially when the date and state name are still visible. The further off-center, the more valuable the coin becomes. Then there's the missing clad layer error. State quarters are made with a copper core sandwiched between two layers of nickel. Sometimes, during the minting process, one of those outer layers is missing, leaving one side of the coin with a dull copper color and a significantly lower weight. These errors not only look different but also feel different in the hand. If you've got a coin like this, hold on tight, it could be a jackpot. There are also strike-through errors, where grease, debris, or foreign objects interfere with the minting process. The result is a strange or incomplete design that can be baffling at first glance, but incredibly exciting once identified. But let's not forget about the most important factor of all, condition. For a coin to reach top market value, it has to be in mint state condition, meaning it shows no signs of wear from circulation. These coins are usually pulled straight from mint rolls or sets and immediately stored in protective holders. Coins graded MS67, MS68, or higher by professional services like PCGS or NGC are exceptionally rare, and when they're combined with major mint errors, they enter a whole new level of collectability. Now, you might be asking yourself, how many of these error coins are really out there? The answer, very, very few. Over 1 billion New York quarters were made in total, but only a tiny fraction exhibit the kinds of striking errors collectors dream of. And even fewer have been preserved in such flawless condition that they meet the ultra-high standards for premium auctions. That's what makes these coins so desirable. They're not just rare, they're unexpected. They could be hiding in a forgotten jar, in the back of a drawer, or even in your change from the store. And now, it's time for the moment you've been waiting for. You've heard the history. You've learned about the errors. You understand the rarity. So how much could a 2001 New York quarter with a major error, in mint state condition, truly be worth? Are you ready? Because one of these incredibly rare examples, with a striking mint error and pristine condition, has been valued at a jaw-dropping $85,000. Yes, you heard that right, $85,000 for a single state quarter. It's not just pocket change anymore. It's an investment. It's a collectible. It's a piece of American history that tells a story and holds real monetary value for those who know what to look for. So here's your challenge. Go check your coin jars, your old collections, your drawers, and your wallets. Keep an eye out for that 2001 New York quarter that looks just a little bit different. And if you find one that fits the description, especially with a clear mint error and perfect condition, don't spend it. Get it appraised. Get it graded. Because you might just have a coin that's worth far more than 25 cents. Top 3. We're diving deep into the story of the 2004 Florida State Quarter. At first glance, this coin might seem like just another piece of pocket change. But when you look closer, when you really study the details, the design, and most importantly, the potential errors and rare variations, you'll begin to understand why collectors across the country are scrambling to get their hands on the rarest versions of this coin. But before we get to that jaw-dropping number that has stunned even seasoned numismatists, let's explore what makes the Florida quarter so special. The Florida State Quarter was the 27th coin released in the U.S. Mint's legendary 50 State Quarters program. The program began in 1999 and ran until 2008, with each coin celebrating the unique history, culture, and identity of one of the 50 states. In 2004, it was Florida's turn, and the design chosen for this coin was absolutely perfect. The reverse of the Florida quarter features a Spanish galleon, a space shuttle, and a palm tree, 3 powerful symbols representing Florida's rich past, innovative present, and vibrant landscape. The galleon pays tribute to Florida's early exploration and colonial history. The space shuttle represents Cape Canaveral and the state's crucial role in space exploration. And of course, the palm tree reminds us of the Sunshine State's natural beauty and subtropical charm. The inscription reads, "Gateway to Discovery," highlighting Florida's place in both ancient exploration and the space age. But here's where things get really exciting for collectors. Millions of these coins were produced in both Philadelphia and Denver mints. To the average person, they were simply quarters used to buy a snack or pay for parking. But to a trained eye, and especially to coin lovers like you and me, some of these coins hold hidden secrets that make them incredibly rare and highly valuable. You see, during the minting process, small errors can occur. Most of the time, they go unnoticed. But sometimes, those tiny mistakes become the reason a coin is worth not just 25 cents, but potentially thousands, or even more. And the 2004 Florida quarter is no exception. Let's explore the types of rare errors that have made certain Florida quarters become legendary in the numismatic world. First, we have the double die error. This is one of the most famous and desirable mint errors out there. It happens when the coin die strikes the coin twice, slightly out of alignment, creating a doubling effect on parts of the design. On the Florida quarter, collectors have reported doubling on the lettering, the word Florida, and even parts of the space shuttle or the ship's sails. These errors are subtle, but when they're present and verified, the coin's value skyrockets. Next, we have the off-center strike. This happens when the blank coin planchet isn't perfectly aligned with the die. The result? A quarter with its design shifted to one side, often leaving part of the coin blank. The more off-center the strike, the rarer the coin becomes, especially if the date and important features are still fully visible. Florida quarters with dramatic off-center strikes are highly collectible and rarely found. Another impressive error is the missing clad layer. Most modern quarters are made of a copper core with a nickel-copper outer layer. In some rare cases, one of those outer layers is missing, leaving one side of the coin looking dull, reddish, and slightly different in texture. These errors are often misidentified as damage, but to the trained eye, they're golden opportunities. A 2004 Florida quarter with a missing clad layer is a hot item in the collector's world. Let's not forget the strike-through errors. These occur when foreign materials, such as grease, thread, or other debris, get between the die and the planchet during the strike. The result is a strange or distorted image. It might look like a blur, a void, or even a mysterious shape on the coin's surface. These are some of the quirkiest and most unique coins, and for collectors who enjoy one-of-a-kind finds, these strike-throughs are highly prized. Then there are die cracks, cuts, and rim errors, tiny imperfections in the metal caused by wear and tear on the dies themselves. These flaws can add serious value when they're dramatic enough or appear in unusual places. Now, let's talk about condition. Even a rare error coin loses value if it's been through the ringer. Coins that have circulated, been scratched, or worn down from use are not going to fetch top dollar. But a coin that has been preserved in mint state condition, untouched by time, handled with care, and graded professionally by services like PCGS or NGC, can demand an astonishing price. For the Florida State Quarter, coins graded MS 67 or higher, especially with verified mint errors, are the cream of the crop. And remember, these errors are not easy to find. They're not in every roll of quarters. They're not in every mint set. They're truly rare. That's what makes them so special and so desirable. So, if you're holding a 2004 Florida State Quarter, pull it out and take a close look. Does it look off-center? Are any letters doubled? Is one side copper in color instead of silver? Does something just seem off? If so, you might be onto something big. Now we've arrived at the part you've been waiting for. You've learned the story. You understand the design. You know the types of errors and why they matter. You've seen how condition and rarity combine to create true collector's pieces. So here's the big question: how much could one of these rare Florida State Quarters really be worth? Well, for one extraordinary example, featuring a major mint error, in pristine mint state condition, verified and graded by professionals, the value has been estimated to be an unbelievable $83,000. Yes, you heard that right. $83,000. For a 25-cent coin. It's not a myth. It's not an exaggeration. It's the reality of coin collecting, a world where small mistakes turn into big treasures, and everyday objects become valuable artifacts. So the next time you get change from the store or dig through an old coin jar, don't just pass over the quarters. Examine them. Study them. Because you never know, your Florida State Quarter could be worth more than you ever imagined. Top 4. We're talking about one of the most underrated and potentially valuable coins in the entire State Quarter series, the United States of America Montana State Quarter dollar from 2007. Now, at first glance, this coin might look just like any other quarter. You've probably seen it dozens of times. Maybe you even have one sitting in your change right now. But don't let its simple appearance fool you. Because hidden among the millions of Montana quarters are a small number of rare, mysterious, and incredibly valuable versions, ones that have sent shockwaves through the coin collecting world. So if you're a collector, a treasure hunter, or just someone who loves discovering the hidden value in everyday things, keep watching. You might just learn how a humble 25-cent coin could be worth a fortune. Let's begin with the design, the heart and soul of the Montana quarter. Released in 2007, this quarter was the 41st coin in the United States Mint's 50-state quarters program. A series that ran from 1999 to 2008, the program aimed to celebrate each of the 50 states with a design that honored its unique history, culture, and natural beauty. Montana's quarter captures its rugged spirit perfectly. On the reverse, you'll see a powerful image, the skull of a bison, floating above the outline of the state. Below it, the words, "Big Sky Country," pay tribute to Montana's expansive landscapes and breathtaking skies. It's a design that's bold, striking, and unforgettable, just like Montana itself, but while the design is captivating, the real excitement for collectors lies in the rarities and minting errors that have emerged from the Montana quarters production. You see, over 500 million Montana quarters were minted across the Philadelphia and Denver mints. That's a huge number. But only a tiny fraction of those coins contain the kinds of minting mistakes and conditions that make them extraordinary. And those are the coins we're talking about today. Let's dive into the types of errors that have made some Montana quarters worth far more than their face value. First on the list, the legendary double die error. This type of error happens when the coin is struck more than once by the die, slightly misaligned, causing a doubling effect on the lettering or design. On the Montana quarter, these doubling effects have been spotted on the words Montana, Big Sky Country, and even on parts of the bison skull. They may appear subtle at first, but to trained eyes, this kind of doubling can mean the difference between a common coin and a collector's treasure. Next, we have off-center strikes. This error occurs when the coin blank, called a planchet, is not correctly aligned with the die. The result is a quarter that looks a little off. The design might be shifted to one side, with a blank crescent of metal on the opposite edge. The more off-center the strike, and the more of the design and date that remains visible, the more desirable the coin becomes. These kinds of errors are rare, especially when found in near-perfect condition. Another error that gets collectors buzzing is the clipped planchet. This happens when part of the coin's edge is literally missing, due to a mistake during the punching of the metal blanks. It creates a distinctive crescent-shaped gap in the coin, and when it's authentic and not the result of damage after minting, it becomes a highly prized piece. Then there's the missing clad layer error. Modern quarters are made with a copper core and a clad outer layer of nickel. But sometimes, during production, one of those layers is missing. This leaves one side of the coin looking coppery or darker than usual. It also makes the coin lighter in weight. If you've ever come across a Montana quarter that looks strangely dull or reddish on one side, it might not be a damaged coin, it could be a missing clad layer error worth serious money. And let's not forget about the strike-through errors. These are caused when foreign objects, like grease, debris, or even a piece of thread, get between the die and the blank planchet during the strike. The result is a distorted image, a missing element, or a strange impression that doesn't belong. Strike-through errors are one of a kind and highly collectible because no two are ever exactly alike. Now, error types are one part of the equation, but condition is just as important. Most coins go through life bouncing around in pockets, rubbing against other coins, getting scratched, dented, and worn down. But a select few are pulled straight from mint rolls and stored carefully, never entering circulation. These coins, when graded professionally, are labeled as mint state, or MS, followed by a number. Montana quarters graded MS 67 or higher are extremely rare. Combine that with a verified mint error, like a strong double die or a dramatic off-center strike, and now you're talking about a coin that serious collectors will pay top dollar for. So here's what you need to do. Go through your change. Check your coin jars. Look through old collections, mint sets, and rolls. Pay close attention to your 2007 Montana quarters. Look for signs of doubling, clipping, misalignment, missing layers, or anything that seems a little off, because sometimes the rarest treasures are hiding in plain sight. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, after all this talk about design, errors, and condition, you're probably wondering what the most valuable Montana state quarter has ever been worth. And the answer may shock you. One rare example of a 2007 Montana quarter, struck with a significant minting error and preserved in flawless mint state condition, has been valued at a staggering $80,000. Yes, you heard that right, $80,000 for a single quarter. It's the kind of story that keeps collectors searching, and keeps treasure hunters turning over every coin they come across. Because you never know which one might be the key to an unexpected fortune. So if you've got a Montana quarter, don't ignore it. Examine it. Study it. And if it seems special, get it appraised, get it graded, and get excited. You might be holding a piece of American history worth far more than you think. Top 5. We're diving into the fascinating story behind the 2010 United States of America Hot Springs quarter dollar, a coin that's quietly turning heads in the numismatic world, and one that might be worth far, far more than face value. Let's get started with where it all began. In 2010, the U.S. Mint launched an ambitious new coin series known as the America the Beautiful Quarters program. This program followed the iconic 50-state quarters initiative, and aimed to honor national parks and historic sites across the country. The very first coin released in this new series was the Hot Springs National Park quarter, representing the state of Arkansas. Why Hot Springs, you might ask? Well, this park holds a special place in American history. Established in 1832, Hot Springs became the first land ever set aside by the U.S. government for the purpose of preservation. That's right, Hot Springs National Park predates Yellowstone and is often considered the birthplace of the national parks movement. Now, let's take a close look at the design. On the reverse side of the Hot Springs quarter, you'll see a detailed image of the Hot Springs National Park headquarters building, with water flowing from the thermal fountain in front of it. Above it reads Hot Springs, and at the bottom, the date 2010. The obverse side of the coin features the familiar portrait of George Washington, which has appeared on the quarter since 1932. While the design may appear ordinary to the untrained, collectors know to look deeper. Because among the millions of these coins minted, some incredibly rare versions exist, coins with errors, misstrikes, and unique variations that transform them from ordinary into extraordinary. Let's talk about the kinds of mint errors that make this coin highly collectible and valuable. First up, we have the double die error, a favorite among serious collectors. This happens when the coin is struck twice by the die, slightly misaligned, creating a visible doubling on parts of the design or lettering. On the Hot Springs quarter, double die errors have been found in the inscriptions, particularly on the words Hot Springs or the date 2010. If you notice a shadow-like doubling effect on any of the letters, don't dismiss it. It might be the sign of a rare and valuable coin. Next is the off-center strike, another eye-catching error. This occurs when the coin blank, or planchet, isn't aligned properly in the press. The result? A coin that looks lopsided, with part of the design shifted or even missing. When enough of the date and key elements are still visible, these coins become prized collector's items. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the higher the value. Another rare and exciting error is the clipped planchet. This happens when a portion of the metal blank is accidentally cut off during the minting process, leaving a clean, crescent-shaped bite taken out of the edge. It's one of those errors that even beginners can recognize instantly. A Hot Springs quarter with a genuine clipped planchet is a treasure in its own right. We also have the missing clad layer error, a favorite among error collectors. This occurs when one of the nickel outer layers is missing, revealing the copper core beneath. The result is a coin that looks coppery or dull on one side, lighter in weight, and different in tone. These types of errors are extremely rare and often mistaken for worn or damaged coins, but when authentic, they are worth significantly more. And don't forget about strike-through errors, where grease, debris, or even a foreign object gets between the die and the blank planchet, creating strange textures, incomplete designs, or mysterious shapes on the coin's surface. Each of these errors is unique, and the more dramatic they are, the more a collector is willing to pay, but errors alone aren't enough to create a truly high-value coin. Condition is everything. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS 65 and above, MS standing for mint state, means it has never been in circulation and shows no signs of wear. These coins are crisp, clean, and visually stunning. Combine that kind of condition with a dramatic mint error, and you have a recipe for a rare, valuable, and highly desirable collectible. So how many Hot Springs quarters are out there with all these features? While over 59 million Hot Springs quarters were minted between Philadelphia and Denver, the number of coins with major, collectible errors in mint state condition is incredibly small. We're talking about a handful, maybe even just one or two examples in the entire country that meet all the criteria for extreme value, and that's what makes this coin so exciting. Imagine finding one of these quarters in your collection, a coin you thought was worth 25 cents, only to discover it's a rare error coin in pristine condition. Imagine holding a piece of American history in your hand, one that tells the story of national preservation, early government efforts to protect the environment, and the artistry of coin design, all while being potentially worth a fortune. So here's your call to action: start looking. Go through your spare change. Check those jars that haven't been opened in years. Look in old coin albums, rolls of quarters, and mint sets. Get out your magnifying glass, your gloves, and your curiosity. Because one of the most valuable Hot Springs quarters could be hiding in your home right now, and now, the moment you've been waiting for. How much could one of these rare Hot Springs National Park quarters actually be worth? Well, one extremely rare specimen, featuring a significant minting error, preserved in perfect mint state condition, and authenticated by professional grading, has been valued at an astonishing $78,000. Yes, you heard that right. $78,000. For a single quarter. It's the kind of discovery that inspires collectors, drives treasure hunters, and reminds all of us that sometimes the greatest value is found in the smallest, most overlooked places. If you found this video exciting and informative, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap that notification bell so you never miss out on the next great coin story. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, there's always a new treasure waiting to be discovered, and we're here to help you find it. Thanks for watching. And as always, happy collecting.